Singaporean Prime Minister Loong is meeting with the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris on Tuesday in Washington, D.C.
Loong and Harris talks about the progress on talks about cybersecurity, supply chains, climate change, and cooperation in space. In the meeting, Harris pointed to share the concern both countries have towards Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Biden's national security team has been pleased that Singapore and other United States Pacific partners, including Australia, Japan, New Zealand, and South Korea, moved relatively quick to hit Russia with sanctions. Previously, Vice President Kamala Harris visited Singapore in August 2021 and announced agreements involving a number of these bilateral issues.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. You and I discussed the issue of Russia and Ukraine, and we, in the spirit of our work,
we've established a bilateral cyber dialogue to work together on critical infrastructure protection, data security, and sharing of best practices in support of a rules-based multilateral order in cyberspace. We're expanding the MOU between MTI and DFC.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. You and I discussed the issue of Russia and Ukraine, and we, in the spirit of our work together being global, discussed our support for the people of Ukraine and all.
Glad that the Vice President and I were able to meet again to discuss ways to take our partnership to even greater heights, and we look forward to the next occasion to meet the Vice President once more, either in Washington or, I hope, in Singapore. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Madam Vice President.
A free and prosperous Indo-Pacific is more important than ever, as President Joe Biden said while meeting with his Singaporean counterpart against the backdrop of a raging conflict in Ukraine.
Biden has painted the Ukraine conflict as a global struggle between liberal democracy and autocracy, while Singapore's leader says this is a battle for a rules-based global order. VOA's Anita Powell reports from the White House.
The tiny nation of Singapore is more than 8,000 kilometers from Kyiv, but the events there loom large for the Indo-Pacific, said Prime Minister Hsien during his first White House visit with Biden on Tuesday. Lee reiterated his nation's strong support of Kyiv because, he said, what happens in Europe reverberates around the world.
The war in the Ukraine has implications for the Asia-Pacific. There are potential flashpoints and contentious issues in our region too, which, if not managed well, could escalate to open conflict. Countries with interests in the region need to pursue all efforts to settle disagreements through peaceful means, so that we can avoid reaching a point of no return.
Biden, who spent much of the last week in Europe shoring up those alliances, underscored the importance of global unity against Russian aggression.
Putin's war is unacceptable to nations in every region of the world, not just Europe, but in every region of the world. It's an attack on the core international principles that underpin peace and security and prosperity everywhere, including in the Indo-Pacific. Today, Singapore and the United States are united and sending the message to all nations, regardless of their size or population. They are equal in their rights on the global stage. They have a right to sovereignty and territorial integrity and to determine their own future, free from violence and intimidation.
Lee is the first leader from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations to visit the White House during the Biden administration. On Monday, he met with Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. Analyst Zach Cooper said Singapore, which has just 5 million people but is a major economic force in Southeast Asia, is sure to appreciate this high level of engagement from the world's largest economy.
I think for Singapore, this is an important show that it's going to stand up for the rules of the existing international order, and being able to come to the White House and be rewarded for that is an important signal that the United States appreciates what Singapore's done in the last few weeks. And I think what we're going to hear over the next few months is a real desire from Singapore for the United States to take more of a leadership role economically. And I'm sure they will have passed that along in this White House visit.
And regional experts say this small nation has a lot to offer the U.S.
Last year alone, Singapore was America's 18th largest trade partner in the world and is also a free trade partner. And I think probably a couple of points that'll be really part of the dialogue here is that, when we talk about, and even before the Ukraine-Russia conflict, the importance of the Biden administration was really placing on trying to strengthen the resilience of America's global supply chains. Singapore, in a number of key areas like energy and technology, is one of a major trading and distribution hubs for the Indo-Pacific region.
And Biden said this warm friendship will soon expand as the U.S. hopes to host more ASEAN leaders for a summit in coming months.